Welcome to another episode of No Tears for Black Girls, a true crime podcast with a purpose, written and produced by award-winning author John Reedberg. I'm your host, Samantha Paul. Let's dive in.
San Francisco, California, 2012.
She was a 17-year-old runaway, leaving the Bay Area behind for Los Angeles and lured into a life of prostitution. Her parents tried to rescue her, but according to prosecutors, when those efforts failed, they devised another plan: to kill her alleged pimp.
Barry Gilton thought he had achieved the American dream. He had escaped his turbulent childhood in San Francisco's notorious Fillmore Street and followed his passion for basketball to graduate from Mission High School. There, he met Lupe Mercado, the love of his life, and they went on to build a beautiful family with their 4 kids. Yet by 2012, Barry and Lupe's world was quickly crumbling before them when their teenage daughter, Latitia, was lured into the dangerous world of human trafficking. No matter how hard they pursued legal aid, and no matter how much Barry mentored young minds in community centers to keep them from gangs, nothing seemed to work. So they finally took matters into their own hands. The long drive down to LA, ready to take back what belonged to them, their beloved daughter from her captors, would prove a milestone in their desperate fight against an insurmountable system. Barry Gilton and Lupe Mercado had a daughter, Latitia. But things would take a dark turn when she started seeing Calvin Sneed, an older man who had a criminal record. Unable to get him out of their daughter's life, they resorted to filing reports with the Compton Police Department and registering Latitia as a missing person. Unfortunately, these efforts were in vain. Then something even more sinister happened. 2 attempts on Calvin's life, the first unsuccessful, the second successful. On June 4th, 2012, an assailant from a passing Mercedes SUV shot and killed him in his vehicle. Barry and Lupe were charged with murder 2 weeks later. Police raced to act when they heard that a local pimp had enslaved a teenage girl in their town. They detained Barry Gilton and his wife Lupe as suspects in the murder of Calvin Sneed. However, Antonio Gilton, Barry's cousin, and Alfonso Williams were also apprehended after evidence linked them to the crime scene. Detectives discovered a link between the 2 men and San Francisco's notorious CDP gang. As they delved further into this shocking case, questions arose about why these ordinary people would commit such a savage act. The detectives' theory was straightforward. Barry Gilton had slain Calvin Sneed. His cousin, Antonio Gilton, and their accomplice, Alfonso Williams, all members of the notorious CDP gang, were part of the plot. Thus, they substituted the charge for a RICO murder case, believing that Barry was also a member of some gang and had bound himself to multiple acts of racketeering activity. However, during the trial, there was insufficient evidence to prove it. The judge declared Barry wasn't connected with any gang and acquitted him of both RICO conspiracy and homicide charges. After 8 years in prison, he was finally liberated. Lupe Mercado, Letitia's mother, wasn't so fortunate. They found her guilty as an accessory after the fact and had to serve 7 years before returning home. In the summer of 2012, San Francisco residents were shocked when 2 men, Barry Gilton and his cousin Antonio Gilton, were accused of a vigilante-style murder. Calvin Sneed was the victim and had been involved with drug trafficking and robberies in the area. But did he deserve to die? Charles Sneed, Calvin's father, made a rare appearance on CBS News, saying that while his son had done wrong, he didn't deserve to be killed. The San Francisco district attorney also took a hard stance against vigilante justice, reminding people that murder is still murder, no matter the circumstances. Questions swirled around the case as people asked themselves, what would you do if you were in this situation? As we uncover more details about Barry Gilton's story, will justice be served?
Attorney Eric Sapphire is representing the father, Barry Gilton.
When they realized that her daughter was working as a prostitute, what did they do?
Well, they had contacted local authorities. They had contacted registries for missing persons. They actually traveled to Los Angeles to confront her and try to get her to come back.
And what happened?
She didn't come back.
Victims advocates say leaving the lifestyle can be extremely tough for a young woman because of the control exerted by pimps. Sapphire says the girl's parents will plead not guilty, but he doesn't deny they had motivation to take things into their own hands.
I think that most people would agree that they had a motive, yes.
They had a motive to kill their daughter's pimp.
Well, I think most people would agree that that's a motive, yes.
A Los Angeles TV station tracked down the alleged pimp's father, who says while his son had plenty of sins,
the fact of the matter is, he didn't deserve to die. That's the bottom line.
Well, at this point, we don't know what the direct physical evidence is in this case, but we're aware of at least one piece of powerful circumstantial evidence, and that is apparently the mother called the father at 1:57 a.m. the night of the shooting, 4 minutes before it occurred, and prosecutors say that is hardly a coincidence, Aaron. And we should tell you that the girl in this case, the 17-year-old prostitute, apparently she's now in a better spot. She's now staying with relatives. Aaron?
And Dan, just a question. The DA has said that the parents tried to kill the pimp before, right? I mean, this was, they had found some sort of a pattern, at least they're going to say they did?
That's right. That's in the complaint that apparently in May, late May, just about a month ago, they say the parents actually drove to Los Angeles, found the pimp there, and actually fired a round at him. He was shot, apparently not seriously injured. Then just a couple weeks later, they tracked him down here to San Francisco and then confronted him again. And at that time, they were successful, according to prosecutors.
Love us? Leave us a positive review or rating. Follow No Tears for Black Girls on social media and No Tears for BG on Twitter. Be blessed. Be loved. Stay safe.